Okay, to make a lunch bag, we need 2 pieces of lining fabric, 9 by 13 inches, 4 pieces of contrastic fabric for the border, 2.5 by 13 inches. 2 of them I've lined with fusible interfacing to make it a little bit, to give it a bit of shape and body. We also need 2 pieces of fabric for the top, 8 by 13 inches, and we also need 2 pieces of outer fabric. It doesn't stuck well. 9 by 13 inches, and again I've lined it with interfacing, and needs to probably be pressed down a little bit more. And I've also got 2 handles, 15 by 1 inch. They can be made from your own fabric. I'm just using tape for quickness. I've also got a little template, 2-inch square template, because we'll need that to make the corners of the bag. The first thing to do is we're going to sew the 3 sides using a 1/2 inch seam allowance down the bottom, down the side, down the 2 sides, and we're going to do that for the lining and the main fabric. So we're going to sew both of these down the 3 sides. We're going to take our 2-inch square and we're going to place it across the stitches and draw around it. So we line it up with the stitches bottom and down the side. Draw. Okay, we're going to cut that area. To do that for the lining and the bag. Then we're going to match the center and sew across, and do that on all the corners for the bag and the lining. Trim it a tiny bit. And turn it round. Okay, again to do the corners. Oops. Do exactly the same. Match the center and sew across both sides. Okay, now we just put the bag in there. That's the lining done. I'll just put a couple of pins just to make sure that it's ready for the next process. Okay, now we're going to sort out the handles. So we've marked the center of the fabric. We're going to measure 2 inches either side. So a 2-inch mark here and here. We're going to do the same with this one. Okay, we're going to pin on the inside, so look for the mark. Pin the handle with the edge towards pin one here, and place the other edge along the outer mark, and just do a line of stitches across. Right, now I've got my handles sewn on. I'm going to put the lining on. And sew across, and do that for both of them. Okay, next we go to open the border like so, and we're going to put the 2 pieces with the interfacing together, match the stitching line carefully, and then going to sew across the same seam allowance as we've used on the bag, so that we end up with a tube, so it can end up like that. Okay, so they're both sewn together, so we've now got a tube. May have to trim some of this bulkiness down this area in particular. We just cut a bit all along as well. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to fold this in 2. So we've got the band ready, and go and press it. And then put a line of stitches along there. Okay, next I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to pin it to the bag, matching the seams. And then we're just going to run a row of stitches to hold it all together. Okay, we're now going to prepare the cover. We're going to mark a line of 1.5 inches from the top. and we're going to do that on the 4 sides at the top. Then we're going to fold the fabric and just sew a 1/4 inch to the end there. We're going to do that on all 4 sides. Next, we're going to fold the fabric 1/4 inch and then 1/2 inch and sew very close to the edge all the way down to the other end. We're going to do that on both sides. Together, and when we come, we're going to use the same seam allowance as used on the bag. When we come to here, we make sure that we open it up as much as possible, and so sew to another stitch. Okay, so we've got our opening for the casing. Put our ribbon or cord in. Okay, next we put it together, wrap it around the bag, right sides together, match the seam, okay, then sew along the edge 1/2 inch, make sure all the edges line up, then trim the excess, turn it round, and it's mostly done. Okay, all the layers are now sewn together, and I've trimmed a little bit across just to make sure that it's nice and smooth. Then what we do is we turn it in, lift the border up, at this stage we could idea to press it and then the only thing left after it's been pressed is to sew a line of stitches all the way down the bottom there, just to hold this in place and to also hide the raw edge. So in that way it's all covered and nice and neat. I'll go back later and pick all these up. The bits of okay, I'm going to put the row of stitches across, make sure that the handles are the way, fold that as flat as possible on the inside, the lining, and then go and do my stitches. Yeah, the little bag is complete. Mine needs a good press. It's just been okay. For the top, what we're going to do, we're going to put some ribbon to close it, a ribbon closure. So put it through. Okay, I went back and cut longer ribbons, I think 32 inches each, and it's better. And what I'm going to do later is I'm going to fold this over and just do a couple of hand stitches just to neaten the edges. If I can find a bead, I'll put a bead there as well, just before I sew it. On, just to make it pretty. And there you go, the bag's done. Thank you for watching.